Hey, everybody, we're here for the new episode of Five for Talking. I'm here with Nick, the Caps, the captain of the show, the sauce boss. We're going to talk about some hockey. This is the final episode of the hockey season. We'll go into our off-season mode and start off season 7, I believe. Can't believe we did it for this long. Um, so just right off the bat, Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. And I want I don't want to know how you felt about the play or anything like that. How do you feel about Vegas winning the cup?
Congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights, first off. So glad that the Florida Panthers showed up for the finals to make it difficult for the Vegas Golden Knights to win. Like, you know what I mean? It's nice to have a new team win the cup. I'll leave it at that.
In fairness to the Panthers, they beat the 3 best teams in the NHL to get to the finals and then face the best team of the Western Conference. They also had 2 players with broken bones playing, Ekblad and Kachuk. And you can call it what you want. You could say it's excuses, and it's fine because they are the losing team. But Vegas said nothing about, oh, this guy was injured, this guy was injured. When Florida lost and when Vegas won the cup, they started just naming a list of players that were playing through injuries. And those 2 were pretty serious injuries, Ekblad and Kachuk.
Did Kachuk have a concussion as well?
I don't know if he had a concussion. I do know he had a bone broken all of a sudden. I can't remember what it was. Was it his sternum or something like that?
No, I just do remember him taking a hard hit on one of those games, and then
he got crunched. He might have. Who knows? Like, I'm not here to speculate that. They went through a lot to get there. I think they deserved the win a lot more than Vegas did. However, in hockey, a wise man once told me that no matter who wins what round, when they get to the finals, whichever is the better team always wins. And
who told you that?
A wise man. But not in the sense that like whoever wins is obviously the better team. No, whichever team was the better team for the regular season usually wins when it comes to the finals. And if you look back at the last like a bunch of finals, that's the case. That's neither here nor there. It was an entertaining series. Florida just didn't have anything left in the tank, and good for Vegas. I think it's good for hockey to have a hot market win, like hot weather market. It's a smaller market. It's a newer team. It's going to bring more eyes to the sport. I do think Florida winning might have been a little bit better because it's in an area where hockey is struggling to be relevant. Where Vegas, that's the only team they have, so people are like behind it. You know what I mean? But hey, good for Vegas. I won't dwell on that much more. Do you have anything you want to talk about with that?
No, I mean, good on Vegas. Congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights. I really don't have anything much to say about this playoff series.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, Matthew Tkachuk ended the season 4th all time for most playoff points with their new club for their first year on a new club, with 24 behind Mahovlich, Hossa, and Corey Stillman. I'm surprised Corey Stillman had that many points in the playoffs. Okay, so we'll move on to just general talk. I don't think we're gonna do a Leafs segmented part of this episode, but we'll talk some Leafs. So there's a lot of rumors going around. At first, I was hearing the Senators, and the Senators are linked currently to a bunch of goalies, but the big one that I kept hearing was Corey Hart. Oh my God. Sorry, say that again.
Carter Hart.
Yeah, Carter Hart. I didn't even hear what you said. Yeah, Carter Hart. I said Corey Hart, sunglasses at night.
Amen.
But now the Maple Leafs, the Senators, and the Canadiens are all being linked to Carter Hart. What do you think? Like, he's still young and he's shown that he can be really good at times. He's had it a bit rough the last 2 seasons. Philadelphia does suck though, currently.
I don't I don't know how I feel about Carter Hart coming to the Leafs, because this is just my opinion. I do believe that they should set their sights on re-signing Samsonov and um, run with Wool, um, because I know that I just think that Carter Hart's gonna. It's so funny because I feel like calling him Corey Hart. I just feel like Carter Hart's be asking for so much money, and I don't know if the Leafs are in a position to uh, give him that kind of money. But Ottawa, I think he would fit
Ottawa is
better.
intriguing to me
Yeah,
because he's
it would
young,
it's a
around
better
a
fit.
young group of guys. I think he fits that pretty well. Yeah, I think there's potential him going to Ottawa could turn it around. They posted a thing recently with all the teams that have never won a cup, and I think it was on NHL's Instagram, and they said who's going to be the next team to win the cup, and I said out of that group, probably the Ottawa Senators. So I'll stick with that. But I really like where their team is headed, and I think if they get Corey/Carter Hart, it'll be really good for them. Okay, so another one I wanted to say. There's this one is actually like I've seen multiple sources of this now, way more than the Carter Hart one. Jonathan Taves signing for a really small, low contract to Edmonton.
I've seen that too. Obviously, he would be a depth center, probably playing on the third or fourth line. But definitely, he would have to sign for cheap, because I don't think the Oilers have the space.
I also don't think he stays healthy.
But if he's going to be if he's going to be playing on the fourth line, I don't see him playing a lot of minutes anyway. But he was battling an illness and he was struggling to stay healthy, like you said. Um, I don't know. It looked like he was struggling last year, but it would be an intriguing signing for the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know what you think about that.
I agree. I think what he brings to the team, in terms of experience, is what they need in leadership. Um, it's kind of a Jason Spezza situation, in all honesty, but I don't know how much of an on ice impact he has. Right. And I think he's going to struggle to stay healthy. But if he takes a low contract, how do they lose? Right. Edmonton can't lose in this situation, especially if he signs for on the cheap.
Yeah, he probably won't play a lot of minutes either. So
Yeah.
I
So
think
you
it'd be
could win
beneficial
that.
for him as
Right.
well.
Okay. So there is a lot of seems like there's a lot of trouble in Winnipeg. Hellebuck does not want to resign.
Hmm.
And apparently the Devils are currently talking to him. They are also allegedly in talks to move Blake Wheeler and Mark Scheifele.
And apparently, Pierre-Luc Dubois doesn't want to re-sign with them either.
Pierre-Luc Dubois does not want to resign. He has 1 year left, but he does not want to resign. And apparently, well, the main talk is to the Canadians because he's saying he wants to go to play because he's from Quebec. He wants to go play for the Canadians.
Yeah.
But now the LA Kings have emerged as a second option, and they're really making a hard push for him.
For
So
Pierre-Luc Dubois or
yeah,
Hello? Okay.
Dubois. Hellebuck is right now only linked to the Devils, as far as I know. And I think if the Devils somehow get him, that would be crazy.
Long term, I don't. How do they afford him? Because
Well,
it's Meyer. You have Hughes.
there's a situation that we'll get to shortly that I think
Okay.
might be a solving point to it, but as it is right now, let's just say if he does get signed there, the Devils are pretty deadly. But then what do you do with Vanacek? Do you ship him out? because he
That's what I'm
clearly
saying.
wants to be a starting goalie right now
That's what I'm saying.
after the season he had. So yeah, that one's a bit up in the air, a little bit weird for me. I won't lie. Yeah, I don't want to speculate too much on that because that's hard for me. But do you think Winnipeg should they make all four of those moves? Let's say I don't know what they're going to get in return, but is that a call to a half rebuild? Because they're not going to get rid of their main guys. But moving on from those four people, is this a soft rebuild or do you think they try to bring back enough players to also contend this season right away?
They're going to need a goalie. Are they ever going to need a goalie if they lose Hellebucket? But probably a soft rebuild. I'm pretty sure there's going to be players on that team that are going to not want to go through a rebuild because last year they probably felt that they had enough players to make a run for it. But it's going to suck for them to go for that rebuild. What do you think?
Um, it's hard because it's like they had a pretty good season last year, and their core of youth right now, their up and coming guys like Ellers and all those guys are really good. So it would feel weird to me to have to take those guys and go through a hard rebuild. And a soft rebuild, I don't think gets them anywhere. But it's like if they try to contend and they don't make it again, then you failed at trying to do what you wanted to do, and you might as well have just tried to rebuild. So it's like honestly, Winnipeg's in a really tough situation. They're the Indiana Pacers of the NHL right now, where they'll make the playoffs every year or squeak in at the bottom, but then they don't have what it takes to get all the way.
All said.
Okay, so I got a couple more things. We'll go through it quickly. So this is where I was going with the potential moving contract stuffs. The Coyotes have more 2023 draft picks, 12, than they have signed players on the roster, 11. That's insane.
Okay.
That's absolutely insane. So there could be a deal worked out where Winnipeg signs Hellebuck, trades him, they take some of the salary. I don't know. I don't know
Anything can
I don't know
happen.
the laws of trade law or bird law.
Anything can happen.
The Rangers named Peter Laviolette the next head coach. Was it necessary to move on? Were they in a situation where they desperately needed a new coach? Was coaching the issue? Or was it the fact that they've had 3 really high draft picks recently and they did nothing with any and none of those players have turned out to be good?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the expectations were that they were expected to make it to the finals. I don't know. I don't think a change of coach was necessary, and the fact that they picked Peter Laviolette, it's kind of confusing to me because he didn't really do much in Washington, and they're a pretty decent team. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think if the Leafs went through what they've went through and aren't even thinking about getting rid of Sheldon Keefe, they're actually thinking of re-signing him. I don't think that the Rangers needed to make a coaching change.
Yeah. When we're talking about Sheldon Keefe, I am not sure about signing him to an extension. However, I don't think relieving him of his duties for this upcoming year is probably the best idea as well because they just got way too many things going on.
I agree, and the response from El Softies on the team, such as Mitch Marner, has made me question exactly what you said. Like the absolute outrage that some of the players had to Kyle Dubas getting fired as a thing that's kind of part of the job. Like it comes with the territory that general managers and coaches are constantly moved in and out. But the way that they reacted to it made me think, crap, maybe they shouldn't get rid of Sheldon Keefe, because do we really want to upset people even more at this point?
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, Ekman Larson has been bought out of his contract by
That's crazy.
the Canucks.
That's crazy.
He is going somewhere, and he is going to make a difference. Do you think he goes? He goes big contract, or do you think he signs somewhere to win?
Sign somewhere to win. I don't think he's in a position to negotiate a big contract.
I think
for now.
I will agree with you, but I also think he's not going to sign a long term. He's going to sign like a 1 or a 2 year deal wherever he goes.
Oh, 1,000%. 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just don't think he's in a position to negotiate for a long-term contract, because I don't think anybody would want him for long term. But like you said, I think he goes somewhere for cheap for 1 year to reestablish himself. And then, if he is successful and he, like you says, makes a difference with that team, then he'll be in a better position to negotiate for something long term.
LA or Dallas is my prediction. I don't see him going to like an elite contender, like a Colorado or something like that. I see him going to like one of the middle of the pack teams that has a shot. So, I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe Edmonton's going to get rid of somebody to get some money.
Crazy.
Specifically based around NHL, I do want to talk about the Hall of Fame. So, before I talk about the Hall of Fame, do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, let's talk about the Hall of Fame.
All right. So, for the NHL Hall of Fame, the inductees, I'll go through it and then we can talk about it a bit. Henrik Lundqvist, Tom Barrasso, and Mike Vernon are headlining the group. There's also Pierre Turgeon, Caroline Ouellette, and then Ken Hitchcock and Pierre Lacroix are built in the builders category. So I think just Henrik Lundqvist, without a doubt, deserves to be there. He's one of the best goalies who's ever played hockey, period. It's non-arguable. He's top 10 all time.
Great
at
goalie.
Least on goalie skills, right?
Yeah.
Tom Barrasso had a great run. He was never excellent outside of Pittsburgh, and some of that can be attributed to the fact that Pittsburgh team for the entire time he was there was excellent.
Yep. He did his job.
Yeah, he's not a bad goalie. Do not ever quote me as saying that, but in my opinion, on raw goalie talent, he's not a Hall of Famer. I think his accolades are what got him there. The Stanley Cups and stuff like that. And Mike Vernon, I think, is a better goalie. But I also think that and Mike Vernon had a great career. I'm not knocking Mike Vernon. I genuinely think if we're going to compare the two, Mike Vernon is a lot better than Tom Barrasso. But he also won cups on two of the greatest teams ever assembled. If you remove all of those Stanley Cups, all three Stanley Cups away from Mike Vernon, is he still a Hall of Famer?
I would. Yeah, I would.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying it I'm just raising the question, right? Because I do think Mike Vernon is one of the better goalies, especially of that era. Especially the pre like Patrick Waugh, Martin Brodeur, Dominic Hasek era.
I just use Grant Fuhr as a sort of like.
I think Mike Vernon was better than Grant Fuhr.
That's what I'm saying. So if Grant Fuhr is in, then yeah, I think Mike Vernon is in.
But Grant Fuhr is mostly in because he played so many seasons and had an accumulative like total of wins, and he won all those cups playing on probably the best team of all time.
Exactly. Yeah. So like a lot of his games, a lot of the games like 7-6
Yeah,
and
and we know
8,
who the
you know
actual
what
best goalie on that team was. And it was not him.
I mean?
So before we talk about the next thing, I want to raise a question because we were talking about this in the group chat. Now knowing that a non-Stanley Cup winning Henrik Lundqvist is in, mind you, we know that he deserves this. And a Tom Barrasso and a Mike Vernon who are in mostly on the accolades of their teams rather than their own personal success. Not that they're bad. And does Curtis Joseph belong in the Hall of Fame, who was, in my opinion, a better goalie than Mike Vernon and Tom Barrasso?
Yes. I get he'll get in at some point. So like I'm kind of surprised that he wouldn't have been. I thought he'd be eligible to get in, but
He is. He's been
yeah.
for a couple years.
So
But it's like, if
they really could have made this like a goalie class,
that's
and
what I mean, right? But I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure how if NHL ballot if people expire like it is in baseball, where after like 10 years of being on the ballot, you're removed from eligibility. Because
not
that could
sure.
be why they finally just gave it to Turgeon. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, Pierre Turgeon is in, and I think it's well deserved. I think he was an excellent player.
Yeah,
He's one of the
well
people
deserved.
that has been on our list for a long time of how the hell is this guy not in the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Alexander McGillney's like, no, Alexander McGillney and Curtis Joseph got to be number 1 and 2 now of players that are not in that should be in.
Is Gilmore in?
I'm pretty sure Gilmore's in.
That's a good question.
Here, you want me to ask Google?
Ask Google.
While I'm asking Google, what do you think about Ken Hitchcock?
Ken Hitchcock. Unfortunately, I don't have his stats in front of me, but I think he's a good coach. I think he deserves to be in.
He's one of the he's got to be up there as one of the most winning coaches, right? And he did win a cup with Dallas. So, I mean,
in
he's
'99.
yeah. He's won. He made it to the playoffs a lot of times, man.
Then he deserves to be there.
For sure. They have a 50-win season that year when they won the cup. Just like shout out to Ken Hitchcock. But that wasn't much of like a does he deserve to be there? That was more of a like, hey, what's your thoughts on Ken Hitchcock? But yeah, Doug Gilmour is in the Hall of Fame, 2011.
Oh gosh, I guess I missed that.
He would have been a quick entry because just how many points he had. The NHL likes those, but I mean, I think this is a good class.
I thought
Like
it was
as much
great.
as I harped on it, like I think it's actually a really good class. I would have loved to
Yeah.
have seen Cujo go in with the goalies. But Pierre Turgeon is well deserved. So can't really complain. Do you have anything else, sir?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Let us know who you think should be in the Hall of Fame and peace out.